Welcome to today's edition of The Inquiring Cat. My inquiring cat does politics. And today I want to talk about DEI, diversity, equity and inclusion. Oh yes, I know. Well, let's start with Donald Trump. So, a few positives about Donald Trump I'd like to start with. The fact of the matter is, he said before the election what he was going to do. He was elected by a clear majority, including all 7 swing states went in his favour, and he has a fantastic mandate. And unlike our lot, hello, Mr. Inquiring Cat, pussyfooting around, he's actually got on and immediately started doing the things he said he would do. And in fact, Tony Blair said that one of his regrets after he'd left power was that he had not moved more quickly. And indeed, we can see that Keir Starmer has moved quickly, sadly, completely in the wrong direction, because he said before the election he'd do growth, and since then he's done everything to destroy the British economy. But that's another story. We're here to talk about DEI. So Donald Trump is, in the sense that he's an impressive leader who seized the battle he said he was going to have, he's got on with it. But on the subject of DEI particularly, I think he really is an orange, odious, obnoxious oaf. Now, I'm not an uncritical friend of DEI. I've seen it done brilliantly, and I've seen it done badly. And one of the troubles with DEI, it gets conflated with the whole of the gender ideology and trans and underage mutilation arguments, and it's very emotive. But DEI in its proper form is good stuff. DEI done badly should be in the dustbin. So when you look at what he said about the plane crash in the Potomac River, the tragedy that happened with the helicopter going into the plane, he immediately took to the airwaves, and after a couple of seconds of expressing some sympathy, he went on to rattle on for ages about how DEI was probably to blame or possibly to blame without a single shred of evidence. A masterclass in gaslighting, frankly, and an absolute nonsense, of course, because he didn't know whether or not there were any women, trans or anything else sitting in the control tower or the aircraft at that time. And anyway, regardless of any DEI policies, the people who are selected for these jobs have to go through the most rigorous evaluation and training and psychological analysis and all the rest of it. And there's never been any suggestion that those bars have been lowered for DEI candidates. So it was really appalling that he immediately turned a human tragedy into a political point-scoring exercise that was a complete nonsense, and that's why he's such an obnoxious individual. Interestingly enough, since then, he's gone on to tackle DEI in the military, and there's been a certain amount of furore, of which I have some ambivalence, because it was announced on the 3rd of February that federal agencies would no longer, or the defense sector at least, would no longer be recognizing any particular days, whether it's Black History Month or the Holocaust or LGBT events or anything else. All this stuff was cancelled. And a lot of people were massively up in arms about it, and how disgusting and how terrible and all the rest of it, and how divisive. I've got maybe contrarian views on that. First of all, having all these individual days recognizing all this stuff, there become so many of them, frankly, I think they've become rather meaningless. And secondly, by constantly drawing attention to all these differences, I think that very often what you're doing is dividing rather than including. They are exclusive, not inclusive. And I think that's true when these things get out of hand. And the third thing, what was the third thing? Ah, yes, the third thing is that the whole idea that an organization can be expending effort on DEI when it should be singularly focused on one thing and one thing only, and that is the military and lethal capability of the defense sector, I have some sympathy with. If you're there to do a job for an organization, it should be focused on the organization. And a lot of this other stuff has been clattering around organizations in the corporate world, as well as in the defense sector or in the military and in the federal organizations and in our own civil service and government. And I'm not sure anybody is measuring how much positive impact they really have. Of course, the enthusiasts and the advocates for it say it's fantastic. But actually, I think that what really is fantastic is organizations being focused on merit and having a good DEI policy that helps merit shine through, regardless of anything else. And I can talk to you on another occasion about that, but I have done in the past, about how I didn't understand the three men standing on a box, but when I had a case study, I really got to understand how good it can be. But actually, my biggest concern is that the Orange Oaf is taking America into a new era of McCarthyism. We knew, was going to surround himself with loyalists. And what he's done at the DEI is that anybody who was involved in the DEI function was told that they were going to lose their job. But what seems to be happening since then is anybody who's been involved in DEI in any way, maybe they were told by their boss they had to go on a workshop or do this or attend that or organize something around it. It wasn't their fault. Who knows? Maybe they weren't in fact personally particularly vested in the issue, but they did what they were told. But it seems that the federal government is now canning people who seems to have even remotely had any interest in DEI. And over at the FBI, the Federal Bureau of Investigation, Trump predictably has been firing people who have been involved in prosecutions that were against his interest. And he has maligned the professional integrity. When you're a professional, just in case you don't understand, you're allowed to have personal opinions about politics or anything else you want. But as a professional, you leave those at home and you get on and do the job that you're paid to do in a professional manner. But oh no, Trump has been getting rid of people from the FBI left, right and centre. And if he carries on like this, there'll be nobody left at the FBI, because everybody at the FBI was heavily involved in the biggest mass prosecution in American history, which was the storming of the Capitol, which was, in my opinion, an insurrection incited by his loose tongue. Although he is very crafty, he really is a sly fox, because he just treads a very fine line. Oh, he's a brilliant negotiator, that's how he's so successful. Yeah, but he's not a negotiator, he's a leader of a country in this context. And it's appalling what he's doing. So this is the new era of McCarthyism. If you live in America and you haven't woken up to that yet, I think you're not keeping your eyes open. Anyway, rant over for today. We're going to have some interesting face-to-face sessions coming up with some political figures very shortly. And by now, you will have seen some already. So I wish you well, and there's more crises to come for the Inquiring Cat Does Politics to cover. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And comment if you really want to have a go. And we look forward to seeing you at the next edition. Thanks so much. Bye-bye for now.